What's going on, everybody? It's your man DJ Swamp Thing. This is another episode of What's Your Hustle, brought to you by Always Working Radio. And of course, this is a podcast where I get the opportunity to speak with just great, dope individuals who are both in the creative realm and the business professional realm. And this is probably going to be my most favorite podcast ever. Like I don't see one topping this just because of the significance of this lady and our just a lot of things that we have in common. But without further ado, Miss Leslie Alexander's in the building. What's up, sis?
Hey, little bro, what's going on? What's going on?
What's happening? What's happening, boy? What's happening?
You got it. You got it. You got it.
I see we both repping. You know what I mean?
You know what it is.
That one of the greatest record store in all of the South, Peaches.
For sure.
Big shout out to Peaches, Elysian Fields. Big shout out. You got the New Orleans 504 rocking.
You know, Peaches, we got to tell people, like, Peaches is where, like, Manny Fresh used to be out in Peaches. Like, that's where, like, Master P, everybody used to hang out at Peaches. So that's where, like, all of the best songs and, like, all of our bounce music, and that's where it all started at Peaches Records.
Man.
So it's a little history to it. He got on some history right there.
Yeah. I still remember walking past the store. I think at one point I felt like I was too young to even go in for some reason. And then when I did go in a couple times, it was like seeing the New Orleans Hall of Fame. If you did music in New Orleans, you was in Peaches.
Yeah, for sure. It's so crazy now. Like, you look back, and we thought we was just walking in a radio store.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Right. At the time, we just thought we was walking in a radio store, not realizing, like, the people that you were amongst.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like I saw a lot of the artists that was young. Yeah. That was starting out.
Yeah.
That was in there going through those vinyls.
Yeah.
A lot of the DJs, you know, the Manny Freshes, and like, I don't know if you knew DJ Mike. Mike started out with Manny Fresh. He was a little bit younger.
Yeah.
But he started out too with Manny Fresh. You know, Mike used to be up in there too, getting vinyls and just records. And it's just so crazy how, looking back, like, Peaches was the store, and to us, we was just in there buying, like, our favorite records. You know what I'm saying? And you're right. Like, Peaches is iconic.
Yeah, it really is. So when I saw the opportunity to grab this, I had to get it. And then when I knew you was gonna be on, I said, you know what? I gotta wear the shirt. But anyway, because look, we can talk about this all day.
Yes.
This will be a long podcast, and we just talk about this. But listen, let everybody know what's your hustle.
What's my hustle? So I feel like I have a couple of hustles. So I'm a registered nurse by day. I always tell people that, like, that's my passion. That's my ministry. I feel like that's my ministry.
No doubt.
I started that out because my mom passed away. God rest her soul. She passed away, but she had lupus. She was diagnosed with that when I was really young. So I'm the youngest of three. And so I was the one who was at home taking care of my mom, my sister, and my brother. They were older, so they were kind of doing their own thing. And so I was at home taking care of my mom at a young age.
Absolutely.
And I liked it. I enjoyed taking care of my mom. I just didn't realize that I was going to end up going into that realm of nursing. That wasn't my thing. I started out as just a medical assistant, and I was cool with that. And then I started working in a hospital. I worked at Tulane and I worked at Ochsner. And I was around, and I worked in the ER, and I was around these nurses. And I just remember thinking to myself, I'm smarter than y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a medical assistant, and I'm like, I feel like I'm smarter than y'all.
Yeah.
So then I went back to school. Like, I went back to school, and I became an LPN. I wanted to go back to school to be an RN, but back home, it wasn't a lot of opportunity.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We had one nursing school.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted to be a nurse, and so the
Yeah.
waiting list was ridiculous.
Right.
And so I became an LPN first, and then I went back to school when I moved here. Well, I became an LPN, and then Hurricane Katrina hit, and so I ended up here in Ohio. And then I went back to school. Long story short, I became an RN. Hooked up with a family out here in Ohio who they own two restaurants. One have a beignet restaurant. The other it's a mother and daughter, both Yonders.
Yeah.
Ironically, one has a beignet restaurant. The other does the food.
Yeah.
So you can get, they brought New Orleans to Columbus.
Absolutely.
So I'm the executive assistant to the beignet restaurant, and I take care of like all the business stuff for her. So it's just a beautiful thing to be with a startup business like that, because and a young Black female who really, I mean, it's amazing to see this woman start from the ground. Literally. And build this business really by herself.
Yeah.
This brand.
Yeah.
Because her goal is to franchise.
Right.
And just to see her build this brand by herself, and I get to watch it and be a part of it. She's allowed me to be a part of it. So the people that I get to meet, and you and I talk about it with you, like the rooms that I get to be in, the conversations that I get to have with people, the emails that I get to, the people that I get to email back and forth. I just never expected to be in that type of situation.
Yeah.
Just because I've always, not because I don't think I'm capable of it, because I'm highly capable of it. It's just because I never saw my life going down that path. I've always just thought I was going to be a nurse because that was kind of my ministry, and I was okay with that. But God had something different for me. So that's one of my hustles.
Okay. So I'm sorry, I mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask, I'm curious to know how was the first the interaction with Yonder? Like, how did you guys even meet?
And she always want me to tell this story. So it's a thing with New Orleans. It's a thing with New Orleans people, like too. We have this thing where I don't know. We just have to like make sure. It's almost like knocking on a door to like say hello. Is somebody there? You know what I'm saying? So I was in nursing school. I was dressed in let me go back.
Okay.
I was at Sam's one day. It was a Sunday. I was dressed in all my Saints gear, my Saints gear. It was a game Sunday. And so I happened to look down the aisle, and I saw this young lady, and she was dressed in Saints gear too. And I was thinking to myself, who else in Ohio like the Saints other than somebody from New Orleans? Because nobody don't like the Saints like that. You know what I'm saying?
No facts.
Yeah. It's like Philadelphia. It's like the Steelers or the Dog Pound or the Cowboys.
Right.
So I went and talked to her, but before I walked up to her and I was like, "What you doing with that Saints outfit on?" And she looked back at me and was like, "What you doing with it on?" I was like, "Girl, you from New Orleans?" And she was like, "Yeah." And then we like hugged each other.
That's hilarious.
We hugged each other.
Wow.
And so we just started talking. We talked for like an hour in the Sam's aisle.
Yeah.
An hour, no joke. And so she was like, there's a family out here from New Orleans that has a restaurant. And so I was like, word? She's like, yeah. So I was in nursing school. My last day of nursing school, when I found out I passed, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go to that restaurant. I'm going to go find that restaurant, and I'm going to treat myself because I'm tired. I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
And I want something good. Like I want to do something good for myself.
Absolutely.
And I want that New Orleans connection. So,
absolutely.
And I want to see if they're from New Orleans. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me go check these people.
Let me go see how authentic this is. Right.
So I walked in, and the first person that I saw was Yonder, Lil Yonder. And she's like, "Welcome to Waytown, Yonder. This is my name, Yonder. You dining in with us?" And I was like, okay, yeah, she got the accent. So I was like, yeah, I heard y'all from New Orleans. And she was like, yeah, baby, we're from New Orleans. I was like, okay, all right. So
Felt
she winning
good.
me, she winning me over with the accent, but I'm like, all
Right.
right, let me
Right.
let me see. I said, yeah, look, can I see your menu? She gave me a menu, and I'm looking at the menu, and at the time, my menu was like stupid. She had like, oh my God, like 1,000 things on the
Anything.
menu.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
smaller now, but it was real
Right.
big.
Right.
And I swear I ordered like $50 worth of food just for me.
Yeah.
And so I taste the gumbo. That was the first thing I had. And she had hot sausage in it, Aaron. She had
Yeah.
hot sausage in it.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, oh my God, you
Yeah.
from New Orleans.
Yeah.
You from
Yeah.
New
Yeah.
Orleans.
Yeah.
And so that's how that I mean that's how we met. That's
That's
how we met.
crazy. So first,
Yeah.
I want to make note of something because you're the only person that did it, but I know why. It makes perfect sense. You just called me by my government name, but no, it ain't nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying that's how we do that. Look. She was like, "Listen, you ain't swamp today. You straight Aaron. You little bro today."
It's
That's what
my people, man.
she's
I'm
like, I don't care.
sorry.
She's like, I ain't worried about this podcast.
I'm sorry. You usually eat. You know, I usually call you eat. My
Right,
bad.
right,
Okay,
right.
but
No,
I
you
was so
good.
deep in that. I was deep in
I
that
just,
story.
I just had to bring it up. So I love that because I love how you guys were able, how you guys met, because my story is different, and I won't go too deep into it because this isn't about me. But I was able to meet them through a third party, through somebody who's from
Mm,
through a DJ buddy.
mm,
When they had an older restaurant, not where they are now, it was somewhere else. I can't remember exactly what side of town, but he was DJing. He was like, "Man, there's this Mardi Gras thing at this restaurant
mm,
going on, and I know you're from New
mm,
Orleans. Come and meet him." So I went over
mm,
there just to support him and to go see, and
mm,
just kind of like you said, I went in there and I just felt like I literally had just went back home.
mm,
And then talking to Yonder, I didn't, I had not yet little Yonder, but this is Mama Yonder. Meeting her,
mm,
she came out the kitchen, and man, I just felt so much love. And then being able to DJ some of the events and stuff from
mm.
there, and it just really kind of like you said, I just felt like, oh, okay, once they knew, because like you said, I had to do the test, so we talked about where we was from,
Yeah,
that stuff,
yeah.
and then it was just an instant connection. And I, I really wish sometimes, I talk about this a lot. We've talked about this. I
Mm,
talk about this with other folks too.
mm,
I don't think people really understand how different the rules are in New Orleans for New Orleans people than they
mm,
are like in other places you live, as far as authentic respect, love,
mm.
generosity, making you
Yeah,
feel like home, making you feel like your family, especially us as African Americans. So
yeah,
first of all, we're all, we're brothers. That's the first thing. But the second thing
mm,
is not only that, but we're from the same city.
yeah,
So you have two major connections. Those are two.
mm,
It's not like, okay, your mama knew my mama up the road. No, these are major connections,
yeah.
and I feel like we do a great job at owning that and making that a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And saying, okay, well, oh, you instantly family, because that's how I
Yeah.
felt like that, and that's how I felt meeting them too, and DJing and stuff. And even when me and you met for the first time,
Mhm.
I was like, yo, that's gonna be sis right there. Like I just felt
Yeah.
like we were gonna have a good relationship. We were gonna build on our
Mm-hmm.
relationship, and we were gonna, and just support each other, which we have.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just really, I hope that whoever listens and watches this podcast going into the future can really understand, that, it's still okay in 2024 to, meet somebody for the first time and genuinely
Mm-hmm.
try to, befriend them. You just never know what they're going through,
Mm-hmm.
and really see what they're about, because you might be missing out on somebody who could really be a good friend, especially
Yeah.
our age. Because at our age, we don't. It's not like we went to school together or our parents grew.
Mm-hmm.
We're grown, so it's harder to get
Yeah.
find somebody that we feel as friends. So I said
Yeah.
I said I like to ask you, now that you have, if you've met them, obviously, you hold a position and everything.
Mhm.
How was that? Did that overall transition, meeting them, help in help you since you moved to Ohio? Because obviously you're not in New Orleans anymore, but now that you
Mhm.
know some folks there and now able to help in their brand and create a position with their brand and make a difference. How did that help your overall transition being in Ohio?
I mean, it has definitely helped. One thing you said, and I think it's just so important. Um, and I talk about this any and every opportunity I get, and I'm gonna come back and answer your question. But I think it's so important um, that we reach out to each other any opportunity we get, or like reach back and help each other any opportunity we get. And like you said, it doesn't have to be my mama grew up with your mama and that just super
Right,
tight connection.
right,
Um, because like you said, you never know who knows somebody that you may know. Because at the end of the day, we all connected.
right,
I'm not from here, but I know somebody that you know that knows somebody that I know.
right,
You know
right,
what I'm saying? And I'm not from here.
right, right.
So we're all connected in some
Right.
kind of way.
Yep.
And we have to just do a better job of helping each other. You know what I'm saying? And not gatekeeping the
Yeah.
stuff that we know and the people that we know.
Yeah.
I have no problem if I know somebody that I talk to that's with the restaurant, because I talk to people on a daily basis, email, phone call on a daily,
Yeah.
that if they can help you, if I'm in my mind and I'm like, and I'm hanging up with them and I'm thinking like, oh, they may need a DJ. They said they might need a DJ for their event. Because one thing about me, I'll email, but I'm also going to call because I'm personable.
Right.
I like building relationships
Right.
because you never know what can come out of it.
Absolutely.
And I have built relationships from emails,
Absolutely.
you know?
Right.
I mean, that's what you should do.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with being an opportunist. It has nothing to do with what can I get. It's building relationships because I may have something outside of what they're asking for that they can get from me because that's not the only thing that I do. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? I also help with the mental health foundation. I'm also about to start my own stuff.
Yeah.
Mental health is everywhere.
Yep.
It's universal.
Yep.
So even though they're asking for one thing for a business that they work for, that doesn't take away that they may have their own personal issues that I may be able to help them with.
That's right. That's right.
You
That's
see
right.
what I'm saying? So the
Mm-hmm.
dots get connected all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So we just have to do a better job at just helping each other.
I agree.
Just helping each other. And nothing is wrong with that. It's free. It doesn't cost anything. That's free.
Exactly.
That's
Exactly.
free.
I agree
It's
100%.
free to smile at somebody. It's free.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, I'm gonna digress because
No,
that
no.
is have me on another podcast for that.
Right. No, I agree. I agree with you 100%. I did want to, not to change the subject a little bit, but I wanted you to go in a little bit more about your position with Way Down Yonder, and then just kind of explain kind of your day to day. What does it look like in that position or for the restaurant?
So day to day, I do two jobs at one time. Well, let me just say this because my day job is nursing. So I have a full-time 8 to 5, in case anybody hears that. Anybody listen to this and they're like, wait a minute, she's working. No, I have a full-time job.
Right.
I am a nurse. I am on the clock.
Right.
When I am done, and in between like my lunch breaks and my regular breaks, I check my emails and I make my calls. Um, and it works out fine because my breaks, now that I'm on I change jobs with or positions with my job that I'm on. Um, so my calls are a little sporadic,
Mm.
but once I am out of training, I set my own time when I take my breaks and
Sure.
my lunches.
Mhm.
So I can kind of set the times that I know I'm going to be able to make my calls when I can call Yonder. Um, and it gets a little sporadic for her because she's in the restaurant and she gets really busy.
You're
But
busy.
we try to have like a time set when we talk. So like we talk really early in the morning. We go over everything we need to go over. Like, so if I have late calls when I get off, or late emails when I get off and I had to talk to people, because I take care of the business side of it.
Gotcha.
She's actually training me because she wants me so bad. This is just the type of person that she is. And not to tell her story because I'm sure you at some point will have her on.
Absolutely.
But she wants so bad for people to have generational wealth.
Yeah.
And she just believes in teach one.
Yeah.
So she just feels like because of the dedication that I have helped, time that I've spent with her, she wants me so bad to have a store. So she's like teaching me to be a boss
Yeah.
right now,
Yeah.
preparing me right now to have my store.
Yeah.
So I'm like a little mini CEO in the making.
Yeah.
Whether I wanted to go that route or not.
Right. Right.
So I see like in addition to handling the business side of it, I also, see the inventory and the spreadsheets and the
Yeah.
payroll and the things that a CEO does. Um, I see all of the other side of the business that she handles because I usually just handle like somebody's trying to get in touch with Yonder because she's so busy.
Of
You
course.
know, I take care of. I kind of like screen all of her stuff too. Um, I tell people I'm kind of like her little pit bull because I'm so protective of her.
Of course.
And I think that's just a New Orleans thing.
Of course.
I don't know. I'm super protective of her. So it's kind of like you got to go through me to get to
Yeah.
her
Yeah.
type.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I filter everything. Like everything has to kind of come through me. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like all of her business has to come through me.
Yeah.
She obviously makes the last decision.
Of
It's
course.
her
Yeah.
business, she's the
Right.
CEO.
Right.
But everything kind of gets filtered through me.
Yeah.
Any emails that come through, I answer like all her emails, her catering, her events, poetry night. So I I wear many, many hats,
Yeah.
and I did that because she was doing everything by herself.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when I noticed that, I was like, sis, what can I do? Because you can't do everything by yourself. Like, what can I do to take some of the stress off of you? And she was like, can you answer some of my emails? I was like, of course. That's how it started.
I
Just me
saw it.
like, okay, what you
Yeah.
need? And I would just get on and say, hi,
Yeah.
my name is Leslie. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And I did it so much, she was like, you want to be my executive assistant? Then
Yeah.
I was like, sure.
Yeah.
Like of course I'll help you,
I love
you
that.
know.
I love that. I love that. Man, I love that. Just listening to how that came about. I mean, it really warms my heart because, that's a pure example of what we're supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
How we're supposed to treat each other. How that's the definition of not gatekeeping. That's the definition of, being able to use your platform in order to bring somebody else along, help somebody else, put somebody else in position to win. Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm getting from this because that's how I run my businesses.
Mm-hmm.
Put people in position to win. It's not, anything successful is not done solo. I don't care what anybody says. You have to have, you don't have to necessarily always have a team, but you need one or two other people to run things that you're unable to run because it's just just not enough time in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I'm listening to you, and I'm thinking about my last restaurant opportunity because I grew up working in a restaurant as well. So all of the stuff that you were saying, really everything you said since day one always hits home. But even just what you're talking about the spreadsheet, and I remember looking at P&Ls and all these different things when I was a general manager at the restaurant here in Ohio, and just how uh, having the other managers in place to actually run the operations gave me the time and the availability to, look at other things to help see how we can manage the restaurant better. That's really what it's all about. You're really in a position, Leslie, in so much empowerment to make that restaurant run better without anybody even buying food. They're just it's the awareness that you bring. It's the awareness that you bring to the restaurant. It's your way of saying, listen, yeah, we here. This is what we do. You got to come and see us. You got to, because not only do we have great food, but we great people.
Yeah.
We take care of the community. We want to give back. All of those things, they don't supersede, because obviously you want to make money. So it's not like they just supersede it, but they all bring such a bigger circle. It's not just a dollar sign.
Yeah.
It's a dollar sign. It's community. It's love. It's giving back. It's networking. It's so much other things. So yeah, and you're right. I am hopefully gonna be fortunate enough to have Yonder soon on the podcast. But even before now, just her and you, definitely want to be able to give you guys, your ladies, your flowers, because I don't think the city has yet to understand how important you guys are and going to be to the community and the city. And it's only a matter of time. It's really, and I'm not saying it because we're from the same city. No, I generally mean that. And because I've had my interactions with Yonder, I've had my interactions with other people in her family, obviously with you, and I mean, you really can't deny it. So, how can do you go out and do you guys do community events, or how does that work if somebody wanted to have food, or just have you guys come to represent the brand? That is something that they go through you for, correct?
Yes. So I have an email. My email is events@wdybeignets.com.
Okay.
Or they can call me at 614-935-1058. That's my cell phone. I know.
I was gonna say, ain't that?
It's on my business card. So,
okay.
Yeah, so it doesn't. I mean, when they call the restaurant, I said the same thing. I was like, "Yonder, that's your number." She was like, "Girl, it's been on. You call the restaurant. It's
Yeah.
She answers the phone, So it's like, oh, girl, okay. Well, put my cell number down.
Yeah, but I'm gonna do it for you. I'm gonna send the PSA only. Listen, take that number, use it for business purposes only. Don't have Leslie hit up my phone talking about such and such, hit her up about blah blah blah. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Oh, no. Business only.
I mean, it's fine. Whatever. I'm a people
I'm just
person.
saying.
So
I'm not. Hey, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But no, that's.
I know how to filter stuff.
I know.
Yeah. No. But we do. One thing I will say on a serious note, and this is what I absolutely adore. I adore this about Yonder, is that she is big on community. She is big on giving back. We used to have open mic nights and poetry nights, and that was her way of opening her doors once a month to the community. And it was so funny because it started out with the first group of her employees who helped her open up the business. And they were like, "Oh, who are we gonna get to host?" And they were like, "Ask Leslie." And I was like, "Yeah, no, not me." And so they kind of like pushed me into it because they kind of pushed me into it because at the time, like that's kind of around the time where I had gotten stabbed, and then I was like, yeah, I don't really want to be around people and in front.
Yeah.
Like, let me be behind. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, it kind of worked out because it kind of propelled me to be in front of people again, slowly be around people. So it kind of worked out, but we didn't think it was going to turn into what it turned into, which was poetry / therapy / community / people finding their tribe. I mean, it turned into something that we just didn't expect.
Yeah.
And so, it was just super organic. Like, we didn't do a lot of promotion with it. It was just crazy how, like, every single time we had it, it was God. Like, God would always be he was always like in the center. And we always put him first, but we thought it was just going to be open mic night. Yeah. It was just going to be poetry. You know what I'm saying? And so it became like, well, let's feed them. Like, let's get people food. Like, let's really make a community. Like, so then we just started buying people, we started getting food and asking people who had who had interest in becoming chefs or culinary, experience. Like, do you guys, anybody in here want to cook and display like their food? Do you have business cards? Maybe I mean, she just became super creative and she's just always looking to help people.